So I was driving down the road and this thing started running real rough. It was missing on some cylinders and then it just died on me, which it does the same thing when you run it out of fuel. So I'm thinking that might be the issue. Either that or it was low on oil too, so if it wasn't sending oil up to the high pressure pump, that would do it too. But I added a gallon, didn't seem to make any difference. The reservoir here is full, so that should be fine. So to make sure it's getting fuel, because come in here, turn your key on, we got all the fuel we could want. Oh, that thing doesn't work right, but when it's like that, you know you got plenty of fuel. So what you do, take this fuel filter out, and then you want to make sure that you're out of gear. Keys off. Well, key can be any position you want, because it ain't gonna start like this. So and then take a little connector deal, anything that's conductive really. Pop your actuator wire off here. You stick this on here to crank it while you're out here so you can watch the fuel bowl. Now the fuel bowl should fill with fuel as the lift pump pumps out of the tank. It should just fill this thing with fuel as it's cranking. So that's how you can tell if you're getting fuel. So that ain't doing anything. It looks like it's squirting out of there, but the fuel bowl ain't filling up, so we're not getting fuel out of the tank. So what I'm gonna do is this little valve right here that I've actually relocated to make it easier to reach. It used to be down in there, but I'm just gonna hook this to my air compressor, put some air to that, and that should blow the lines out back to the tank. I'm just going to leave my cap off for a while in case that's causing it, or not venting right, causing it to draw vacuum on the tank, just to eliminate that as a problem. So after you hook that compressed air up and get that air flowing back there faster than your parents can tell you they're disappointed in you, you want to take this fuel filter back off. Set it aside. Now we're just going to see if we get fuel now. Now this might take a little bit because there's all that air in the lines now. I've taken the inlet side hose off of the lift pump, and I've attached this hose to the tank side, and when I try to pull fuel, all I get is air. So there's obviously a crack in the line or in the tank. Somewhere it's pulling air. Okay, so just to make sure that this is actually going to work, I've attached a line to the fuel pump out here to my diesel tank, and I'm gonna run this just without the turbo and filter, just to make sure it's gonna run. So yeah, see what happens. Out here, neutral, turn the key on. Let it rip. Okay, we're getting smoke. It's a good sign. It's about 50 degrees out, and this thing does not start anything below about 60. Because the glow plugs don't work. There's no fuel heater or anything like that, so let's give that a little bit. I'm an idiot. That a little bit. Now it should go. What I want to do it's gonna go. Let's give the other side a little bit too. So instead of tearing this tank out and figuring out what the issue is, because that's a lot of work, front tank isn't even there, so that's not really an option. I'm just going to take this air tank that I built, convert it over to a fuel tank. So I got to get a fitting with some kind of a standpipe that'll seal on there and go down to the bottom of the tank. And I'm going to attach that line in there, and then this is a pretty small fill port there, but it'll work. We'll make it work. So to go get parts, I got this thing rigged up on the front here, and we're gonna go see what we can find. Oh, what the hell. Get plenty of fuel. Just gotta give it a little cheech. Which is right over here. back from the parts store. Got some more fittings and whatnot. It's gonna meet my cap. That's an oil fill cap, but I'll make it work. This for my fill. That's where I'm gonna put that oil cap. Need that just so it can breathe, so I don't pull a vacuum on the tank. This is gonna be my standpipe. It's just a brake line, but it's 3/8 to put compression fitting on. This compression fitting is what I'm going to use, but the issue is there's a little lip in there that stops your pipe from going all the way through. Well, I need to drill that out because I need this to fit all the way up onto that pipe so that the pipe can go down to the bottom of the tank. Here we got our standpipe. What we're going to do, that's all the way to the bottom. We're going to lift that up maybe 1/2 inch and then tighten that thing down. Alright, so we have our fuel line running back to the back, plumbed in right here to the standpipe. It's our fill. It's going to be a return line here. I'm probably going to put a ball valve here as a vent to open while you're filling. And so the only hold up right now is figuring out which line is the return line from the tank here. We got 2 lines hanging down. One's a little bit bigger than the other. One's supply, one's return. I don't know which one's which. So those are for the front tank, which isn't in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start the truck and push this to front, and then I should see fuel coming out of whichever line back there is the return line. So it's the smaller of the two is the return line. Now we just gotta splice into that hose, connect to this one here, and hook it in right there. So here's the finished setup. I might actually add a elbow on this just so there's less of a bend there. Definitely need to make a bigger port here because this is just too small. I put fuel in it. It's full of fuel right now, but it just is really difficult to get the fuel in there because it keeps wanting to trigger the nozzle at the fuel pump. So I'm gonna make this is 1 1/4 pipe. I'm just gonna add one of these here that's 1 1/4. Have to do some welding there. That'll lower this cap down too. So, added my valve over here. Don't really like this setup because you have to put a plug in there to keep rain and stuff out, and because if you didn't do that, that would fill up with water, and every time you open your valve it would just dump into the tank, which would be no good. So I might change that later on, but this works for now.